Hiya guys, Mark here, Celtic Crossbows. We're going to continue my series this week on arbalests. Last episode we looked at the Ward crossbow, mini or self-defense crossbow in modern terminology. Quick glance, short, lightweight crossbow, self-defense, £100 limb. This has got a 55 carbon fibre fitted, but it would have been about a £100 limb in the Middle Ages. And it would have been used personal, close range, close quarters, combat, last minute, somebody in your face, bigger than you, you're overpowered, and if you was a lady, something like that, you just bring straight up, blacked in the face, and that would be the end of them, and you can run off safe. The next stage along of what would be called munitions grade, munitions being basically a basic crossbow. It wasn't your modernised ivory emblazed with pom-poms on the front limbs, etc. of Germany or Italy, which was extravaganza, expressed by the wealthy. This was your working class, your soldier, your frontline basic crossbow. So what we've got here is a basic 120, 130 pound first line crossbow. I say a first line, the use of this was quick reload. Go quick reload for a crossbow. Your heavyweight crossbows such as your Cranaquin whip crossbow, your windlass crossbow was heavy duty, 1,900, 800, 1,400 pound arbalests used for long range tactical work. If you sniped an officer on the battlefield, you could sit there indefinitely with a pre-cocked 1,400 pound crossbow and just sit there waiting for a ripe target to arrive before you took him out. This was a quick reload crossbow. The beauty being, if you was on guard duty on the gates of the castle, this could remain cocked indefinitely or within reason. The string would stretch, but within reason it could remain cocked if you've seen an arriving threat coming. Using close quarter combat, using a narrow corridor or something like that, because these are specific uses. Not all crossbows were super high powered medieval crossbows. They was used for different things. An example of that, which I will show you now. Okay, so modern crossbow. Stock, they would have called it the tiller. Trigger system, they would call it the tickler. Your rise everything. Apart from all the plastic and the bolt-on goodies, it's the same machine. Different function entirely. This is a 90 pound bowline, rapid fire by crossbow standards. Used for tactical situation, close quarters, minimum noise, country where firearms are banned, etc. This is your next best thing. Now, compared this old 7 shots magazine, it would quickly open up, slide in your magazine of bolts for your speed loader, lock it back down, you're ready for another 7 shots. Compare that with the old-fashioned crossbow. This, you would have it cocked and ready primed with a bolt. It would have been placed down in the ground for loading, and you would have pressed down with both hands to cock it. In the meantime, you're completely exposed to anybody coming at you with a sword or a dagger. So this would have been your last shot, your last line of defence. Now, just put that under there out of the way. And it would have been the same with a war grade arbalest crossbow. You had your one shot primed and ready. So if you imagine holding a bow, which I will do for you now, you're guarding the castle, you're on the front gate, such as Chepstow or Raglan, and you've got your bow, and you've got somebody coming towards you, you have your arrow already set. You would stand there all day just waiting for a quick release, get the next arrow out. But things like that didn't always present themselves in the medieval day. So what you would have would be your bolt or quarrel already in your bow. Your foot is down on the floor. I'll show this in a later video. Resting constantly in the stirrup. So all you have to do then, if you believe or perceive a threat coming towards you, you wouldn't be singular. There'd be 2 or 3 officers on guard. You just reach down, yank on your string, you're ready to go. Friend or foe. You couldn't have done this with a cranaquin, a windlass, a goat's foot, or a whip crossbow. So this crossbow would have been used primarily on gatekeeping duty, such as on a drawbridge, guarding the king's quarters, where a quick load and a quick fire, or even standoff, would have been absolutely essential. And you can stay there as long as you like, holding the trigger until the problem either de-escalates or runs away. With a bow, however, you can only hold it for so long till eventually your arms give and give and give and give, and your opponent can then attack. You've got to pull back quick, but your arm muscles are already tired. And to be an archer took often 8, 10, 15, 20 years of training. We know that from medieval archer skeletons, we could tell if the bowyer was left or right-handed by the size of the skeleton on which side of the body. So Hollywood often portrays of soldiers on guard of castles with just a bow. I can't see that being accurate, because it's if you had 2 or 3 guys come in with a horse and cart from the next county over, they would have been dressed the same attire, weapons hid in a cart. You would have need instant power, which you wouldn't get with a bow. You'd have to be constantly all day, fingers on a string, ready for hours and hours. I can't see it happening. So the beauty of this was, your quarrel was already in the bow. Being 120, 150 pounds prod, all metal. You haven't got the strain on the riser because of the anvils locking the limb in place, etc. It could be adjusted quickly for zeroing, just by tapping around the arc of the radius to get your zero on a crossbow. So it would have been extremely accurate. You're talking, by modern standards, 35 metres straight shot, dead flat. So that's roughly the length of 2 articulated lorries. I can't say for definite with this particular bolt on here. I shall show you now. I have another one here. Okay, this is the bolt for that crossbow. The shaft is the same, bodkin tip, armour piercing tip. This was designed for use against armour. This would fit into the fingers of the rolling nut. So there's locks in there. The string would have been smack against the back of there. This goes between the teeth of the nut. And this, as hard card or paper fletchings on it. Feathers was used. We know this. But munitions grade, it would definitely been either thin wood, like a slither of pine or something like that, which could have been kept for a long time. These were made in their thousands. Now with glue, with the feathers, because we've been annual horse glue back then, none of your modern day epoxies which can bond the wings of a modern aircraft. This was made with like a horse glue, and some of them are actually curved through the flight as well to give you some level of rotation during flight, so it give you a bit of a drilling effect. Todd has done a great video on this on his channel, examining in slow motion the close-up on the bolts. In fact, I'll include a link below for Todd's excellent work on the the bolts in slow motion. So anyway, I digress. We got off from where we was going for. So this £120 crossbow would have been today the equivalent of the M16 SA-80 frontline soldier personal weapon. It wouldn't necessarily just been archers. Archers, remember, was expensive. They took decades to train to get a top archer. Ask Joe Gibbs. Is not something which happens overnight. And it takes a lot of dedication for an archer. You lose an archer on your front line, you take you 10 years to replace him. Crossbowman was cheap. These was easy to learn, relatively. And a high-placed crossbowman could take out prize targets on the battlefield as a sniper, which a bowyer could not do. So this particular crossbow, this is from about 1440. We know this. It doesn't have the overlocking finger to hold the bolt. That was a later invention around about 1500. So this particular bow, you would have been held your thumb on top of the bolt before you pulled the trigger, and that then would have allowed you to shoot down off the battlements. But because of the trajectory of the distance, battlement crossbows would have more likely been goat's foot, windlass, possibly whip crossbows, because of the extra distance involved. If you've been to Caerphilly Castle, you're talking a good, from the leaning tower over the moat, a good 40 yards, 45 yards. I'd shoot behind battlements as well to get your target. Whereas this would have been on the front gate of the drawbridge and for more personal defence. So if you're in the corridors of the castle and you've got 30 screaming Welshmen coming towards you, and your name is Joe Morris from Gloucester, you're not going to have time to whip out your windlass and put it down and wind it up. You're not going to have time. You're going to have time to slot in your Cranaquin and wind it back. You would have time with a whip crossbow or goat's foot. They was relatively quick. It was 3 or 4 use side by side. But the beauty of this was, you just nose down into the ground, 2 hands, click, bolt in, fire, down, 2 hands, pull, bolt, click, fire. And it was as fast as you could do it. You couldn't do this with any other crossbow. So this was used for close range in the courtyard, in and around the castle ward, not as in the previous ward, the ward of the ward crossbow, and being used for immediate defence. So standing on guard outside the king's quarters, any of the courtiers, it was for immediate defence. We're going to take a look around the crossbow now. It's super. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the crossbow now. And by British standards, this is brand new, straight off the production line, 1960s. It was beautifully created by a gentleman who's no longer with us. It was his passion, his hobby, to make these. And all the fittings he made himself by hand. Now the full history of these I do not know, but he was made over 50 years ago. So it's so for us in the UK, we'd call this brand new in medieval standards, because we still have a lot of medieval bows now around, although not as many as we'd like. The trigger itself, or tickler, has been beautifully created. This curve by here has been done by drawing the steel, twisting it, and then forming the curve. And this has been done pretty much in one session. So this originally, you got 1, 2, 3 twists. So imagine 1 down and up. Originally this would have been facing up that way, and it's been twisted 3 times to this position. We know this because there's no hammer marks on here, so this was heated here hot forged in a Dewberry firkin, what do you call it, in with the hot coals, and then twisted into shape. The nut is heat treated. It is made from stainless steel. Originally it would have been antler, bone or something like that, because this is only 120, 130 pounds crossbow. It's not a massive weight. It was a wearing part traditionally, and these would have been repaired and constantly updated. I'm going to remove the bolt to give you a look. And this again is something which comes from years of knowledge. The stock has been pinned beforehand. The reason being is, on a lot of these bows, as the shock works its way back from the bow limb, it causes the timber to crack. So a lot of them now, on the guys who are making these days, still aren't pinning them beforehand. They wait until they crack and then they pinning them, which I think is a bit poor, knowing that it's a 500-year-old fault. The limb itself, this was made from Sheffield steel, no longer available today. So where you're going to get your Sheffield steel from, I couldn't tell you. But she's a beautiful crossbow, and it's, like I said, it would have been a personal crossbow for a soldier on guard duty. Okay, so the next video we're going to do is going to show shooting the bows, the Ward crossbow and this crossbow, and see what the results are. So until then, I hope to see you soon. Take care, bye bye, and thanks for watching.